Oh, man, oh, man. She's a very low IQ person.
Jasmine Crokket is running for Senate in Texas, and you want to know how much star power she has? Well, the guy who was the front runner in the Democratic primary race for this seat in Texas, he dropped out because of this.
Jasmine's a friend of mine, and we've served together, and I've known her since before we were both, in elected office. But it was about the fact that with three strong candidates running, that we would certainly have a runoff. And I felt that was not, in the interest of the folks who had, come up to me, tell me their stories, who would open themselves up.
Okay, so why does this matter? This is a marquee Senate race. It's in Republican hands. Senator John Cornyn is the incumbent GOP senator. He's in a primary race of his own. He's being challenged by Ken Paxton. And on the Democratic side, their hope, they're doing a lot of this, is that Ken Paxton will win that Republican primary because they think he is more beatable in a general election. Will Jasmine Crokket be the one to win the primary and to be a Democrat who will finally turn a GOP seat blue? Who knows? But it's definitely something that the Democrats behind the scenes have been trying to game out. And it's also part of the domino effect of the Supreme Court decision last week that gave a green light to the redistricting, the map that Republicans drew mid-decade because President Trump told them to try to get 5 more seats in the House of Representatives. And so what the Democrats have been doing in Texas is to say, okay, we know that it's probable that there will be 5 new Republican seats, but maybe if we position our stars, Democratic stars, in ways that we can try to pull back at 1 or 2 of them, maybe it's possible. Colin Allred is a former NFL star. He was in the House of Representatives before, and he is known statewide because he ran and lost for the Senate against Ted Cruz. So there is a hope that that race is going to help with the balance of power. So we're talking about the balance of power in 2 ways, in the Senate and in the House.
Your campaign launch video solely showcases the president insulting you repeatedly. Why did you choose that approach here?
If the president cannot keep my name out of his mouth, then who is it that would be better to make sure that they are in the U.S. Senate to hold him accountable? I am the one that he is afraid of. I am the one that the Republicans fear. They can say that they don't, but my governor cannot stop tweeting about me. And I know that that is out of fear because honestly, if they really wanted me as the nominee, they would be quiet and just wait and hope to crush me. But they know my strength and they know my ability to reach people that historically have not wanted to participate in politics or had just given up. And that is how we are going to win in the state of Texas. As a candidate who is constantly attacked and seen as a threat, it's because I am. I'm a threat to the system that's been holding us back from our full potential. I'm a threat to a system that works to protect politics as usual, that seeks to maintain the despair and unfairness in our state. I'm a threat to those that have lost their moral compass, abandoned their purpose, and want to be kings instead of public servants. I'm the only candidate in this race who has served on the federal level, has taken on this administration, and sought accountability. I'm the only one who has gone toe-to-toe with Donald Trump, and there's a reason he's always got my name in his mouth. There's a reason John Cornyn has been attacking me since before I even entered this race. There's a reason folks have tried everything they could think of to try to keep me out of this race. And I believe that's because Trump has seen the same numbers I have. Cornyn carries on with business as usual while small businesses across Texas take the hit from Trump's tariffs. Well, I'm done with politics as usual. I'm done with going along to get along and it gets us nowhere. I'm done watching rural hospitals and public schools close their doors. I'm done watching parents be afraid to send their kids to school or the mall or the movies because Republicans have flooded our streets with guns. I'm done with the senators sitting around doing nothing while Trump takes your hard-earned money, skims your Social Security, slashes Medicare, and gives tax breaks to billionaires. I'm done. I'm done watching the American dream on life support while Trump tries to pull the plug. The gloves have been off, and now I'm jumping into the ring. I'm asking for your support to be the next United States Senator from the greatest state of Texas.
I grabbed my popcorn the moment I heard this news. Welcome back. How are you guys doing? Thank you for tuning in. I bet you're doing good. Let's jump right into this one. Grab your popcorn because it's about to get more interesting. A lot of people rush to the internet to just have their reaction the moment they heard Jasmine Crokket is running for the Senate. Credit to the creators. Credit to the creators for giving us this opportunity. Go down there in the comment section. How do you feel about this news? Let's go listen to how people are reacting. Then we're going to add more commentary.
For God's sakes, just vote Jasmine in, goddammit, okay? I don't want to hear about her being a black woman. I don't want to hear shit about her having a silver spoon in her mouth. I don't want to hear shit about that, because last year we followed the bag, and look where this country's at. Okay, Texas needs a leg up, because last time I checked, they ain't doing shit for y'all. Not a goddamn thing. Republicans ain't doing a goddamn thing for Texas, but making it harder for everybody. Only thing y'all got is high-ass taxes, immigration, and a state that was gerrymandered without the consent of its goddamn citizens, all right? Jasmine Crokket is the one for the job, okay? I really do wish she was running for governor to push Hot Wheels Willie over the cliff, but she's not. But we need her in the state senate. We need her. And I just ask for my home state to please just do right. Get us out there and vote. Because honestly, I don't know what next year is going to look like. But if we don't have people in power that is representing us, and I do mean the LGBTQIA plus community, I mean the children with disabilities, black women, immigration, all those sectors, we're already now. So let's do a U-turn, please.
It's official. Congresswoman Jasmine Crokket is officially running for U.S. Senate. She filed her paperwork about an hour or two ago, and then at 4:30 p.m. Central Time, she will have the formal announcement in Dallas, Texas. I will be watching via YouTube. I did consider going to Dallas up until about 10 a.m. I said I could still make it. I could still hit 45 and make it on time, but I am going to just go ahead and watch it from home. I'll get on TikTok Live to discuss it tonight. All in all, I think this is exciting. Colin Allred has now stepped out of the race. I do believe Tallarico plans to stay in the race. He had, since her filing, he did announce or put out a statement saying, we welcome Congresswoman Crokket into this race. And I think we should all follow his lead. We should all welcome her into this race. I think it's going to be good for Texas Democrats to have a real primary, to have two strong candidates in this race, and to make them stronger, to help them kind of sharpen their arguments before we get to this general, which is going to be messy because that primary on that side is going to be a mess. And honestly, too, if anything, let them have the mess. Let's stay on our side and keep it cute and keep it clean. And I think Tallarico is starting out and he is modeling what we all should be doing. So, in case you have missed some of Jasmine Crocket's biography kind of details, aka Wikipedia, just some notes for you all. Jasmine, like myself, is also originally from Missouri. She's from the other side, St. Louis, Missouri. She went to Rhodes College for undergrad, made her way to Texas for law school, going to TSU first here in Houston, and then finishing at University of Houston. Here's a point I think people miss on her resume, which I learned from watching her interview with Howdy Politics. She started her career in rural Texas. The county that has Texarkana on that Texas-Arkansas border, yeah, she was a public defender in rural Texas. So I do think she has an understanding of rural Texans, and I don't think she'll be scared to go to those areas. And from what I understand, she was actually active in politics there before moving to Dallas. After going to Dallas, I believe she continued to practice law, and then of course ran for the Texas House. She won, and then ultimately ended up running to go to Congress. So she's been in Congress since 2023. She had a very quick rise, I think, in terms of her nationwide profile, because she was able to make it plain in a moment where people wanted to see authentic leaders who were talking about expressing our feelings and thoughts about this current administration and all of the foolery from the other side. And she made it plain. On top of that, I think that she has been crisscrossing this country campaigning for other people. She was in California for the Prop 50. She was campaigning here in Houston for Christian Menifee. In the Texas 18th, she was campaigning for Afton in Tennessee. She campaigned for both those governor's races on the East Coast. She's everywhere helping to support Democrats. And so I think you will see some people, her being able to cash in on those favors. She's got 3 governors, at least 3 I can think of, who I would say owe her some favors. So look for that as well. Ultimately, too, I think people are trying to figure out, What does she stand for in terms of policy? You can go dig into that on her website, on Wikipedia as well. Black maternal health, things, healthcare costs. I think those are all things we've seen her talk about as well. If you've only seen the clips that are like the Marjorie Taylor Greene clips and all that, I encourage you to go look for other clips. They exist, but your algorithm pushes certain things to you. Okay, it's important for us to be mindful of as well. Other thing here, the Republicans are gonna do enough in talking about her using dog whistles, using overt racist, misogynistic comments. I want us to be better. We don't have to do the work for them. If we are out here doing that work, not we, because I wouldn't do that, but y'all, if you are out here doing that work for them, you're making this race even cheaper for them. Okay, I think it's very important for us to be mindful of that. Other thing too, and I know that for my fellow Black Texans, we are very much positioned to be weary, to not trust. We know that Black women can do all things, right? We understand that, but I want us to be mindful of the language that we use as well. I want us to operate in the sense of being strategically positive, because this state struggles with voter apathy. And the more apathetic we are in talking about this Black woman who has a stacked resume, the more we feed into that. We don't have to do that work. We should be out here being positive. I think about people like Kamala Harris, who was the first Black woman to win Senate in California. Her name's escaping me, but I can see her face. The first Black woman to win the Senate in Illinois. I think about these two Black women we have sitting in the Senate right now, Angela Alsobrooks, for example, and yeah, they represent bluer states, but at some point someone told them that a Black woman can't win statewide in this state, and they did it. And so at some point, it's got to be somebody, right? So why not Jasmine Crokket? I think that's important for us to keep in mind. Other thing I think for her, our biggest struggle to flip the state is turnout in our urban areas and our cities. And I think someone like Jasmine Crokket, I think she's going to put some excitement out there for those people who don't vote regularly, who don't vote at all, to get signed up to vote, to take part in this election for the primary, up to general if she wins. I think she's going to excite that group. And so I don't want you out here dampening that. I don't want y'all putting, spitting on the excitement. I want us to be energized about this race, and even excited about what Tallarico brings to this race as well. From where I sit today, I look forward to seeing both of them, and I'm not even solid on who I would vote for if I had to vote tomorrow. And I think that's a good thing. We should all be open to hearing from both people. But all in all, this is longer than I wanted to be. But this is very exciting for Texas. That's how I see it.
Crocket's event where she announced that she's running for Senate. And I have a lot of thoughts I want to share. One of the main things I want to highlight is, to me, it was very clear how deeply Jasmine Crokket understood what it meant for her to join this race and how much is riding on it. In her speech, which I highly recommend people go and watch, my God, when she gets to the point where she's talking about making the decision to join the race, she gets emotional. And it was like at that moment where I was like, I'm watching someone on stage that wanted to be so painstakingly sure that they were a right person to jump into this race because they were thinking about the state, the Texans, and our well-being over their personal aspirations. There is no one on this earth that is more painfully aware of the limitations that can come with being a Black woman than a Black woman. While I do not think that it is good to center her candidacy on the fact that she is a Black woman, it is a key factor. And it is one that everybody and they fucking mama won't let any of us forget, okay? So it is something that when you are considering whether you are able to do something, we're always considering whether us being a Black woman is going to prevent us from being successful or not. There's a level of honesty that we have to have with ourselves when it comes to shit like that. Not because we are not qualified, not because we are not capable, but because other people might not be able to see it, unfortunately. But I, in that moment, saw the intentionality that went behind her making the decision to run. And for that reason, I am very confident that this is going to be a very strong primary. Because if you have two candidates that are running with incredible intentionality, that is only going to be something that helps both of them and helps us, because we want strong candidates. So I'm happy that she joined the race, because I'm seeing all the things that she's doing, even from the small things to the bigger things, to make sure that her race and the campaign that she runs is something that is going to be successful against Cornyn or Paxton next year, because don't nobody give a crap about Wesley Hunt. So on top of that, I do want to point out some other things that I noticed that I thought was very interesting. The room was diverse as hell. Everybody and their mama was there. All shades of brown, black, beige, everybody was there, okay? Gender, etc. Okay, loved it. But of course, it was also very Black. I mean, okay, Black folk, we ride deep. So, of course, that was going to be a thing. But kind of in that same vein, though, one thing that really has stood out to me, though, through being in person at this event, was the community that surrounds Jasmine. Because, I mean, there were the speakers that spoke, like, before her that were attesting to their experience with her and, like, the things that they've seen with her, like, work ethic and, the ways that she supported them and things like that. But, which were some very interesting people, by the way. We had, like, a young trans girl that was, I think she's 15. There was I cannot remember her name. I'm gonna have to look and see. I'll put it here. But she's a widow of the postman that passed away recently within the last few years, who died from, I think it was heat stroke, just because of the Texas heat. And she said that the first like official that reached out to her to offer her condolences was Jasmine Crokket. Yeah. And she also was like, yeah, the post office still hasn't done anything. I was like, ooh. But even when I was, because, since I've been talking to and working with some of these candidates, you get connected with their teams and you're like, okay, who's this person? You're talking to so-and-so and so-and-so is connecting you with this person, da, da, da. And like with her team, a lot of the people I was interacting with, like some of them were her team, but I'd be like, oh, are you, on her team as well? And they were like, no, I'm just her friend, just here to help. That just kept happening. Oh yeah, I'm just here to support her. Yeah, I know her this way, like blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, y'all are not, like, it wasn't even like an official volunteer situation. It was just quite literally, she's somebody in my life I care about, and I'm here to show support for her and help how I can. Mind you, these people, super diverse. I like that. I like that a lot. But one of the things I thought was super important that really meant a lot and has been a huge push I've been pushing on some of these other candidates is really engaging with creators in Texas. Like, we are here offering to help. And it's like, I'm not seeing a lot of it. And it's one of those things where like, and it doesn't just have to be like creators like me where I'm like talking about politics and stuff like that. Like just anyone, like being able to really leverage the people that want to support candidates because we care about the state. I've not seen enough of that. And off rip, that is something Jasmine has been focused on. It was a shit ton of creators that were there at this event. There were creators that flew in to do this event. Now, I did not get an interview with her today, even though I was supposed to. It was a lot. Also, I live in Dallas, so I was like, we can prioritize the creators that don't live here. I get that, so we're gonna get that a little bit later. But I will say though, I think it is so great the way that they have been on it off rip. Like, you can even talk to some media. They were talking about how effective they've been communicating with them and informing them of like the logistics of the event, just sharing the media advisories in a timely way, being responsive, things like that. Even for me, like getting the invitation to go to the event, it was quick. They told me what I needed to know. They told me the information I needed to have to get where I needed to go. It was very clear. They gave me my pass. It was so efficient. I'm like, dang, you sure you only had a few weeks to figure this out? One of the biggest things is she hit on all the fucking talking points I be telling y'all about why it is not impossible to flip this doggone state and why we do not have to cater to the right to do it. We don't. I swear to God, this state's turnout is abysmal for voting. If you have someone that can get people to show up, they can flip the state. That is such a big thing. And she touches on that, which is why I said, if y'all want to hear my burning come out of somebody else's mouth, go listen to that speech. Okay. And then some, of course, obviously some stuff is very unique to Jasmine. But as far as making the case for the state, just listen to what she had to say. But the energy in the room was palpable. People were excited. And it was very obvious that she plans on being a candidate that comes in swinging. And she has. So it's going to be interesting. Also, Dallas, we got a lot going on, okay? We got a lot going on. Even outside of this announcement for Jasmine today, we got Colin dropped out, joined 33rd district race with Julie Johnson, who's now throwing shade at him for joining the race to get back the seat that she got voted into and shit. Like, that's a whole mess. And then we got Mark Vesey was supposed to be going for Jasmine's seat for 30, but then actually he's going to be like county judge or something for Tarrant County. You got Freddie Haynes joining the race for Jasmine Crocket's office in Texas 30, my district. So, pastor of Friendship West Baptist Church. Yeah. It is, we've had a lot of movement over here today. Oh, and James Tallarico told y'all to keep it cute. So, keep that in mind. Anyway, I'm excited. I think this is going to be a good thing. I know people are disappointed because Tallarico didn't jump to the governor's race. Y'all always got to remember Gina's in the race. There are some thoughts I have there as well. And I know people have been asking, like, what I think about this whole thing with, like, Tallarico and Jasmine now that she's officially in the race. We'll get to that. But for right now, I just want to celebrate the fact that a Black woman had the courage to jump into a Texas Senate race like this and has the vision of how she wants to do so. So.
You see the title. You see the title. You see the source. NBC News reports Representative Jasmine Crokket launches Senate run in Texas, shaking up Democratic primary. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You thought that you was going to take my seat. Have the seat. I'm coming for the Senate. Y'all said that she had a trick up her sleeve, and I'll be damned, you guys were right. You said that she had a trick up her sleeve. You said that she was not going to be taking this lying down, and you were absolutely correct. Imagine thinking that you finally figured it out. You finally thought of a way, the Trump administration, POV, right? Thinking that you finally found a way to get rid of this pesky little problem. Finally discard this person that's been holding you accountable, this person who's been constantly holding a magnifying glass to all the areas that you've been trying so desperately to keep hidden. And out of nowhere, she hits you with the Uno reverse. She hits you with the Uno reverse, and there's nothing that you can do. There's nothing that you can do. And let me tell you something. If she doesn't win, democracy as you know it is over. Because the way that things are looking in Texas right now, they're not messing with the Republican Party. They're not messing with the Republican Party. In just Southern Texas alone, where Latinos actually make up the majority, 70% of them in a recent poll actually shown that they are no longer supporting the Republican Party. Yeah. You want to know why? Because of Trump's and the administration's policies on deportation, as well as the current state of the economy. Yeah. And when I say multiple studies, I mean multiple studies, even one by the Pew Research Center. Mind you, gaining the Latino vote, the majority vote, is usually how Republicans are able to get their wins in Southern Texas. And 70% of the Latinos there said, no, I will not vote. I will not vote for any of you Republicans. So, like I said, our good sis, Jasmine Crokket, is gonna win. She's gonna win. And I was going to say that y'all should have just let her have kept her spot. Y'all should have just let her have kept her spot. But I'm happy that you didn't. I'm happy that you forced her out of it. I am. Because now she's really about to put belt to it.
Today, Congresswoman Jasmine Crokket of Texas has announced her bid to run for the United States Senate. I'm just going to get right into this. Jasmine Crokket cannot make this race about Donald Trump. I think what we have witnessed in recent races, whether it's in New Jersey, whether it's in New York, Virginia, we need to focus on bread and butter issues. And I hope Jasmine Crokket does not get caught up in the making this about Donald Trump nonsense and focus on kitchen table issues, because that is what's winning people races right now. Furthermore, I am from the state of Texas, born and raised in Harris County. This is not going to be easy. But Jasmine Crocket's path to victory is through Texas's Attorney General Paxton. If Paxton gets the Republican nomination for Senate in the state of Texas and beats out John Cornyn, that's her path. If John Cornyn maintains his position as the sitting Republican senator of Texas, I think that path for her narrows. Because John Cornyn is seen as more of a moderate, centrist Republican who hasn't fully embraced the MAGA form of Republican that we see today. Paxton, on the other hand, is a rather unpopular attorney general who has been mired in controversy left and right. That's going to be her path to victory. But I'm going to foot stomp this. She must focus on bread and butter issues and find the middle. Because Texas is not fully purple yet. It's still a red state. And I would say we're about another 10 years off before I would say it's a competitive state. Focus on bread and butter issues. Don't get caught up in bashing Donald Trump, and pray to God John Cornyn loses to Paxton.
Credit to the creators for giving us this opportunity. Go down there in the comment section, add your comment. How do you feel about this? I grabbed my popcorn the moment I heard this news. And I am going to say what this last guy said. I just hope the Congresswoman Jasmine Crokket and her team, they have been given this such advice. Like, you cannot focus this race on the president. You have to base this race on what people are going through. You have to talk about the bread and butter of what people are just going through, what people talk about every day, which is affordability. You know what I mean? If she can do that, just like that guy said, she got a better chance. And this guy is right. That is what's winning a lot of races these days. If you can talk about what people are going through, you can look into people's eyes and tell them you feel them. You understand what they are going through, and you are here in the race to make things better for them. That is what is winning a lot of races these days. If you all notice the special election that happened, everybody are talking about affordability. They are campaigning on what people are going through. They are telling people they feel them. If you can tell the people that you feel them, that you understand what they are going through in terms of how they are going to pay their mortgages, in terms of how they are going to feed their families, in terms of how they're going to buy gas, you know what I mean? In terms of how they're going to get their insurance, if you can speak to people on that level, you got a better chance. But if she is focusing, just want to focus on the president, that has never gotten anybody anywhere. That's what I say. I just hope our team, they have given her, or you know what I mean? They are sitting down and they are talking about this. Focus on what people want to hear. They do not want to hear you go right and just talk about the president alone. Majority of people do not even want you to talk about the president. They want to hear the solution you have to the problem. They want to hear the solution they have that will help her, whichever candidate. They don't care if you're Republicans, you're Democrat, or you're independent. All they want to hear is the solutions that you have to our problems. And I just hope she can learn from the mistakes of other candidates that they have based their campaign just on the president. How do you guys feel about this? To all my return subscribers, and do not forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Bye for now.